What's going on, everybody? I hope everyone's having a fantastic evening, afternoon, pre-noon, no matter where you are in the world. I'm Hassan Piker, and this is the HASANABI broadcast coming to you live from sunny California, Los Angeles, folks. We're live and alive, and I hope all the boys, girls, and MBs are having a fantastic one. Today's a beautiful day. Today's a wonderful day. Today's is freaking Saturday, sexy Saturday. Bernard AOC rally later. That is right. This is April 12th, 2025, 11:33 a.m. I'm Hassan Piker, and I hope everyone's having a fantastic one. It is 67 degrees and sunny here in California, Los Angeles. I'm having a great one, and I hope so are you. But having said that, this is the part of the broadcast where I tell you about my personal news, about what's going on in the world of HASANABI Piker, like I said, and that is what I'm going to do, so help me God. First and foremost, ended the broadcast last night, hung out with the family, turned on the PITT. For those of you who don't know, I started watching the PITT. And it's awesome. It's a medical drama, 2025 HBO medical drama, and it's really good. Starring Noah Weil, also known as Dr. Michael Robbie, I think. A very handsome lad, very handsome fellow. And I wanted to watch it with my mom and my dad, but my dad immediately was like, I'm not watching this shit. He apparently is not capable of watching any sort of blood or gore. And not only could he not watch anything with gore in it, he also said we're psychopathic for watching a show with so much gore in it. So that's classic Baba stuff. I watched the first episode and the second episode. Let me tell you, it's a pretty good show. Pretty gruesome show. A lot of subtle undertones. It's one of those shows that's like extra woke because it's HBO, but it's also, all of those shows are woke. I've talked about this before, like all the cop shows and shows like ER, they are all very woke shows, right? Shows like, you know, 911, First Responder, Cops, FBI, America's Crime Unit, whatever the fuck they're called. Like, they're all technically propaganda shows, very much propaganda, very much constantly explaining to you why. No. The cop shows, propaganda shows are very, very woke. You guys are wrong if you think they're not woke. They're woke in like the liberal Democrat social consciousness wokeness. And it's important to recognize that it's actually propaganda, but it's woke because it plays a very interesting role of, I think, moderating people that watch the show. So it turns liberals into lovers of cops who think cops are always brave and bold and beautiful and defending the interests of the public. And sometimes they have complicated moments where they do bad things, but actually it's, you know, they were doing that for a good cause, right? So if you're like a leftist or a liberal or whatever, it's supposed to moderate your position to be pro-cop. But if you are a right-wing reactionary in the middle of the country and you're watching those shows, it's actually insanely woke because every episode, first of all, diverse cast. You got like Indian cops, you know, you got Mexican cops, things like that. So it's like a very diverse cast, first and foremost. So that's like cool for you to see, like, and they'll tackle like racial dynamics, things of that nature. Gay cops, right? Like all of that stuff exists in these shows. And also on top of that, they will tackle issues, like they will literally cover like transgender related issues. You know what I mean? Like they will literally talk about like the discrimination that like gay people face, and they'll teach people consent. Like they serve this very interesting role of moderating the position of American consciousness. I have been thinking quite a lot about this, but anyway, the PITT in and of itself is not like that. It's an HBO show, but it's a medical drama on HBO, but it's really good because it subtly, and in certain instances not so subtly, tackles a bunch of labor related problems that exist in the American hospital system, profit seeking in the healthcare structure, what kind of impact that has on the average like emergency room doctor and the nurses. All of that stuff is excellent. Yeah, there's a hyper focus on social work and the importance of social work in the medical field as well. The first episode was great. First episode starts off with like the friction between the hospital administrator in a suit coming down, talking to this doctor in the midst of like, you know, him getting his hands bloody left and right because this the emergency room is overloaded, right? Like, and the hospital administrator is like, you're not serving these clients, like these patients, well enough, that their satisfaction rates are not high. And he's like, well, we have beds upstairs. Why don't we use those beds? This is an overfull facility. You're constantly doing triage. Of course, they're not going to be fucking happy. I just am barely making ends meet and barely making them survive out here. You fucking asshole, right? That's a huge issue. They even talk about how you don't want to hire more nurses. You don't want to hire. She says there's a nursing shortage around the country, and it's like, no, you just don't want to hire more nurses because that's too costly to the hospital. It shows like the incredible amount of pressure that like our medical professionals go through, especially in ERs, because ER is the one mechanism that like poor people can use in general, or poor people often do use in general, because like they don't go to the hospital until it's far too late. So it's just overloaded. Homie, you're watching Boomer Daytime TV dramas? Yeah, I am. But it's very good. And so I like that. And then the second episode, there was a sickle cell moment where like the white first responders are like literally restraining this woman. She's black. And she's going through unimaginable pain, but they're like, they're treating her like she's a tweaker, right? And there's this moment where like they subtly, but not so subtly, talk about medical racism without like serving it to you directly. It's very good. I like it a lot. I like it a lot. It's very cool. It's a tough watch. Okay. I will admit it's very gory. Yeah, it's incredibly gory. It's a medical drama on HBO. Of course, it's incredibly gory. Yeah, remember when I talked to you guys about the Chinese peasants comment and how that was going to cause so much commotion in China? Very few comments by U.S. officials in the past few years have radicalized the Chinese people against the U.S. as much as JD Vance's Chinese peasants. Why would he say this? It doesn't help with anything.
To Shenzhen by train.
It quite literally is an invocation of century of humiliation shit. China at this stage has overcome exactly that. As soon as I heard JD Vance say, call the Chinese peasants, I told you that this was going to extend, or at least at the very least, it was going to cause the Chinese population to be significantly more angry towards JD Vance. It was also going to cause them to hold strong against American action.
In China, and I'm going to Shenzhen by train, so I've forgotten my phone and I want to get something from the store. So I'm at 7-Eleven. So I'm going to pick up the sparkling water. And what's very interesting is they actually have, so I'm going to scan it. They actually have WeChat Palm Pay. So that's my WeChat ID. That's my WeChat ID, and I just paid without having my cards or my wallet on me or my phone, which is pretty crazy, mind-blowing. You don't have to take anything with you when you like go and travel. So that's the beauty of China. It just shows how ahead China is in terms of technology.
I have seen so many TikToks about Chinese people being like, I'm a peasant. Fuck you. There's hundreds of these videos going around. They're all very viral too. The Chinese won't let Xi take the foot off Trump's neck. Yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the day, it does not matter. Xi is going to do what Xi's going to do. You know what I mean? And in terms of maintaining global stability, trade stability especially, which is something that benefits China as it stands and something that China wants to maintain, this is the reason why I say, like, after showing the world a lesson, showing the global leaders that are paying close attention to what's going on right now and the dangerous instability, he's going to turn around and offer, like I said, an olive branch to the Trump administration. The Trump administration will take that olive branch. Everyone who's actually smart will recognize exactly what took place. But of course, we are surrounded by incredible dumbasses. So all of those dumbasses will turn around and go, oh my God, he did it. He did it. He did it. Trump is the mad lad. He actually made China back down. Also, one of my favorite things is like the people that like Donald Trump, but also like BRICS. Like a lot of these like BRICS guys also are pro-Trump, weirdly enough. And I don't know how that happened, but these accounts posting like these signs are popping up all over China. These Chinese peasants are killing me with their wicked sense of humor. Starting from today, our store will charge 104% service fee to American customers. If you have any questions, please consult the U.S. Embassy. After being brought up in a China-hating country, it's very hard to swallow. They're not the big evil guys. I mean, it doesn't matter. The world is not run by the people that have these opinions. The world is run by people who will still recognize when, the American government is the one who's causing the instability and the Chinese government is the one that's maintaining global stability. This kind of stuff is just this is a little bit reactionary. I already hate AI art, and this is not to be the friend who's too woke or whatever, but like this kind of stuff is a little bit reactionary, where they're just like, oh yeah, you fat fentanyl addicted Americans, like good luck making these chips. Now, the reality of the matter is we can't make these chips. The manufacturing process for this stuff is so insanely high tech. It is not something that you can put together overnight. You have to have a shit ton of training. It is still, of course, better than let's nuke the Three Gorges Dam posting, which is what a lot of the Americans have been doing, which I talked about as well. It's something that I've been seeing on my timeline quite a bit, and it's been very frustrating, very annoying. I do think it's kind of funny, because if Trump was able to achieve his desires and his wishes, like let's say America was able to build the industrial base necessary to become go from a consumption economy to a production economy, right? You would literally have a situation similar to this. You would have these guys sitting in the fucking factory floor making stuff for India and China. Like, could you imagine the role reversal? Like, that's not going to happen. It's so stupid. We do not know how to make iPhones. We do not have the capacity to make iPhones. We just don't have the factories to make iPhones. We just don't know. We don't have anything. Like, it's just so stupid. If you weren't watching me, you might be confused today. You might be going, Hasan, I'm an Asmongold head. I watch Asmongold every day. And he keeps telling me these are brilliant moves that the Trump administration is making. But I found myself briefly coming over to your broadcast for a moment, and you're saying a lot of interesting stuff here, and I'm a little confused. I'm a little confused as to what is going on. Why did Trump make exemptions for the phones and chips? On the one hand, Trump said tariffs are good, and I celebrated that because Asmongold celebrated that the tariffs are good, and America is going to be a rapidly growing industrial economy. That's what I was thinking of. And then he turned around and he said, okay, no more tariffs. We're doing a pause on tariffs. So I was a little confused then, because then everybody started saying, art of the deal, art of the deal. Donald Trump did it again. But now he's caving without getting a single phone call from Xi Jinping on some of these tariffs that were supposed to happen for phones, computers, and chips. What the hell's going on, Hasan? Well, if you were watching me for the past couple of weeks, or maybe the past year or so, I would have told you that this is exactly what was going to happen, because America is nothing if it can't protect the bottom line of capitalist corporations, and America is nothing if it can't offer cheap consumer goods to its base. It's nothing. That is the only thing holding the social contract together. And Donald Trump, as I've said already, basically destroyed that. He tried to nuke it. In the words of Felix Biederman, he molested the money. That's what Felix calls this, you know? He just put his grubby little hands on it and he molested the money a little bit, okay? He had a moment of money molestation, and then they were like, you can't molest the money any longer. Jamie Dimon made a boss call and was like, no, no, no. But then he still has some of his fingers in it. And then I guess Tim Apple made the boss call as well. And he was like, no, no, no. I want to understand the mindset of an Asmongoldian. You know what I mean? Asmongoldian, a fan of Asmongold. In this very moment, do you feel like Donald Trump still got the big dick? Is he still doing the thing? Is he still hitting the fucking red button over and over again? What happened? How did he buckle? What is a guy who is only getting beamed right-wing commentary to his fucking frontal lobe? What does that guy think at this moment? They're called Asmonglers, by the way. No fucking way he calls the fans Asmongoldians. No, I do that. There's also another thing that people call his fans, but I don't want to say it because it's a little bit, it's ableist. Wait a minute. Wait, hold on. Lutnick 5 days ago said smartphone manufacturing was coming to the U.S. because of tariffs. Brennan, you've said that robots are going to fill those jobs. Lutnick's is automated factories. The armies of millions and millions of human beings screwing in little screws to make iPhones. That kind of thing is going to come to America. It's going to be automated. U.S. publishes tariff exclusions for specified products. U.S. tariff exclusions apply to computers, smartphones. U.S. tariff exclusions also apply to chip making equipment. Tariff exclusions apply to so-called reciprocal tariffs. Trump exempts phones, computers, chips from reciprocal tariffs. What happened? As soon as Donald Trump said this, what did I say? When I was reacting to it live, I was like, oh, he's just going to start doing tariff exclusions to companies that come in and kiss the ring. And he's going to do it for basically all of the shit that we get from China anyway. As soon as he said, "Yup, I'm looking at exemptions," I was like, yup, of course he is. He's gonna fold like a goddamn picnic chair. Now, the irony here is that the only thing that's not excluded from these tariff exemptions is fucking gaming consoles. So for all those gamers out there, you're cooked. Unless you're PC master race, in which case, like, you'll probably still be hit by these tariffs to a certain degree. Art of the deal, baby. You're still cooked. If you want a PlayStation or a Switch or whatever, you're still getting shellacked. But if China doesn't make exemptions to agriculture, won't that break the backs of farmers? Yeah, of course. China already rerouted soy from Brazil instead. They immediately were like, okay, we'll go to Brazil for soy then. Good luck. Have fun. So now, because Donald Trump decided to nuke global trade because he was fucking bored and molest the money a little bit, the only thing that's happening in the process is they're going to have to heavily subsidize the farmers even further in an effort to weather the storm. That's number one. Number two, China has already moved in the direction of rerouting some of their trade. They're making deals with the European market. China never even needed American soy. They were only buying American soy because of the deal they made with the U.S. in the first trade war. I know that. I know. Also, for this exclusion, they're making it go into effect from imports since April 5th. So if tech companies already paid for the duties, they'll have to be refunded. Oh, don't worry. They haven't paid for the duties. You want to know why? Because the fucking tariff collection system mysteriously broke. So they haven't even collected any of the tariffs anyway. So why did we do any of this? And does this spell confidence for the market watchers? Because it's still, they're just chipping away slowly but surely. This is turning into Trump 1 real quick. Trump 2 was supposed to be different. This man was on a mission. He was vindictive. He was going to punish everyone that told him no. He was going to tell all the money guys, fuck you, I'm doing my thing, okay? For no reason whatsoever. But it turns out he is still listening to the money guys. They're still telling him, like, you can't do that, sir. You can't do that, sir. And he's backing away like a baby.